have to have passion for what you do because it's so hard. Any rational person would give up. You working late night for that business and waking up early mornings, any rational person would say, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting 4 hours of sleep. You canceling trips because you need to order something for your business, a rational person would be like, no girl, I'm going on a vacation. I'm not about to be wasting, no. Any rational person would not be able to put in the drive necessary to get the life that you want. You're tired of holding yourself back. You know you want to make more money. You know you want to travel more places. You know you want to live a different life, but your fear of failure is holding you back. It's holding you back from getting your potential, and you want to figure out how to do it. So in this video, I will talk to you guys about losing your fear of failure. So first, I want to start out with something that sounds a little cliche, but failure isn't real, it's just redirection, right? In a sense, the definition of failure is kind of like to be unsuccessful at something is to be a failure. But the reason why I say it's redirection is because you still have the ability to try again, and there's not a time period that constitutes something as being successful and or failing. I say that to say a great example of this is think about Michael Jordan and LeBron James, right? They're two people who people always go back and forth. Who's the better player? Who's the best player? Things like that sort. LeBron James went into the NBA right after he graduated high school. So he went to the NBA around 18 years old. Michael Jordan went to college and then he went to the NBA. So he went into the NBA in his 20s. I don't hear anybody saying that Michael Jordan is a failure because he went to college and LeBron James didn't have to go to college. I don't hear anybody saying Michael Jordan is a failure because he, if I'm not mistaken, it was either his JV team or his freshman team. He was cut from the team. This is a man who literally is on the sign when they talk about the NBA. Like if you think of the NBA, you think of the top player. I mean, it's Jordan and LeBron. This man was cut. And if he looked at it as a sense of a failure, he would have never became who we know to be Michael Jordan. And then the crazy part is we don't think about it like this, but there's a lot of Michael Jordans that could have been out there, but they got cut from the team and they felt like they failed. And he used it as redirection. And the reason why it really is redirection, and you should be happy that it's actually redirection, is because you have the ability to go in a different direction. You have the opportunity to essentially do something new. Because the way I look at life, failure is not being able to do anything. If I fail at something, I can never try at that thing. So when I'm gone, when I can't wake up, when I can't breathe, that's when I failed at something. That's when you truly fail at something. But if you have the ability to try again, if you have the ability to take longer than it's supposed to take, you're not a failure. You're just doing things your own way. And it's honestly a redirection. Because at the end of the day, let's say, okay, your friends, it takes them 4 years to get their degree, but it takes you 5, 6. During that time period, don't look at it as, I'm a failure, because all they're going to do when you get a job is ask, what degree do you have? And at the same time, during that time period, you could be meeting new people. During that time period, you could be opening more of your network, building more connections. Look at it as a redirection. Maybe there's somebody that you could not graduate college without knowing. Maybe there's an experience that you had to go through that made your life different than those other individuals. Look at it as redirection. And another thing I want you to ask yourself when it comes to being a failure is, are you already a failure? Because I was thinking about that recently for myself. Like, you're simply a failure because you did not try. To be a failure means to be unsuccessful. But if you're not successful at anything, then technically you're already a failure. So you're afraid to fail at that business. You're afraid to fail going to the gym. You're afraid to fail changing your life. But little do you know you're already a failure because you haven't even been successful with that thing. And you haven't given yourself the opportunity to even be successful with that thing because you have not tried. And I say that to say it's really inside of our heads. It's really this thing of us feeling like I'm going to be seen like this. I'm going to be seen like that. That really holds us back from truly becoming successful at something. And going into when I talked about how people look at us and how we don't want to seem like something, I want you to understand no one remembers your failures unless you stop. So unless you stop doing something, nobody remembers when you first tried doing lashes and they should take you 5 hours. Nobody remembers when you first opened that business and then it failed and you opened another business and it failed. There's a lot of people who we deem to be successful, who we deem to be great individuals, right? They could be inventors, they could be artists, they could be all these other things. They've had a lot of, even imagine an artist that you listen to, right? Think of your favorite artist. Do you like every single song that they ever made? No, nobody. I don't know if y'all ever seen the little compilations on TikTok or YouTube or anything like that when they talk about artists' first songs. And a lot of their first songs I'm listening to, I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like this, it sounds nothing like the individual who they are now. But nobody remembers that because they kept going. You stopping is what makes people remember that. And another thing too, I want you to understand, even if individuals do remember your failures, that means they watching you too much and they're probably a failure with themselves. Because I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't have the time in a day to remember every time somebody chipped up. I don't have the time in a day to remember somebody failed at something. But if somebody stops at something, it's easy to remember. Oh, remember when you used to, and that's what hurts you. And that's how you also could understand if you stop things prematurely, right? If someone could say to you, oh, remember when you started that business? And if you truly know you didn't like the business, it wasn't for you, you'd be like, yeah, it's not for me, right? People sometimes try to bring that up. I used to do lashes when they first became a big thing. And sometimes people be like, oh, remember you did lashes? And I'd be like, yeah, it wasn't for me. But if I was someone who stopped prematurely, if I was someone who stopped because I was scared of failure, I was scared of seeming a certain way, I was scared of things, then that's how you know you probably stop prematurely, because you get frustrated. It's a feeling you get, like, yeah, but, and then you start making excuses. The only thing you should say is, it wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy that thing. I didn't. But if you are that type of individual, that gotta be like, oh, well, but it was hard and this and that. That means you stopped prematurely. That means you wish you would have kept going, but there was a fear of failure that held you back. And another thing, I want you to realize, you have to fall in love with what you do. Talking about previously when people can say things to you that get you riled up or get you this or get you that. You have to understand that it's going to be hard. Like life is hard. Let's not get into the certainty of people like, you have to find your passion and find something you love, and every single day you wake up, it's going to feel like the best day of your life, and it's not going to feel like work. It is. Even when you find something you love to do. I've mentioned it before in the videos, like having kids, you would love your kid. I personally don't have kids, but you love your kids to death. But I'm pretty sure my mom did not wake up every single day saying, I get to be a parent today. Lucky me. Like, she loved us to death. She loves us to death. But at the same time, it's like, if it's something you truly love, you have to understand every day is not going to be easy, and that's what's going to keep you going. And I think that's what messes up a lot of people when we have, an overload of information in our generation. We have so many opportunities to do things that we often get failures in our head before we even start something, because we think way too far out. Okay, I'm going to start this business, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Oh, wait, no, this is not going to work because of this. This is not going to work because of that. Trust me, I've done it to myself before. And why? Because we have too much information. I feel like a lot of people don't also acknowledge that in our generation. I think people always try to say, oh, Gen Z this and Gen Z that. People don't understand the amount of brain things that was probably the worst way to say it, but the amount of frustration that we go through because we have the opportunity to do so many things that it's like a choice overload. It's an overloaded amount of choices that we have. Like other generations, don't get me wrong, if you talk more so like millennials, they kind of had choices, but it was more so they had more career choices after they went to college, right? They were like the girl boss era and stuff like that, but a lot of them left their corporate jobs and started businesses. For us, it was people in high school starting businesses. It was people in high school saying they're doing this and they're doing that. So it does cause an overload of trying to figure out, what do you really enjoy? And I talk about it in multiple videos. That's when you really have to pay attention to when you're in a flow state. Pay attention to when you're doing things and you genuinely forget the amount of time. Like for me, YouTube, that's what this has been for me. Don't get me wrong. I have to structure the videos so they sound right and stuff like that. But listening to books, reading books, sometimes I listen to books, watching podcasts, things of that sort. Those are what I really enjoy. And then I share the information with y'all. But at the same time, you have to find something you enjoy doing, because you're not always going to be successful at that thing in the beginning. And then also you have to understand, if you want success to come, you have to be normal with it. Like, stop being weird. Not stop being weird, but if you think about it in a sense, you're always worried about numbers. You're always worried about what people think about you. You're always worried about being successful. But don't you want to be successful? Why are you acting scared of success? It's going to come, right? And you think let me tell you, I said it on a previous video. If you're a millionaire, a billionaire, and you have $3 million businesses, having a fourth one is not going to be that big of a deal. So act like success is normal for you. Act like you already have the success. Act like you already have the money, the customers, all those things where you are doing what you want to do, because those things are going to come. And then what's going to happen when you have them? You're not going to have any drive. You're not going to have any motivation. And I think that's what messes up people a lot of times too. It's like you're not genuinely doing something that you love. You're doing something for money. That's what it is a lot of days. You really want to do stuff for money. You see these girls making money. You see those guys making money. And you like, how can I make money? And so you find yourself, not staying consistent. You find yourself lacking motivation. And the root of it is that you genuinely don't enjoy that thing. And there's this quote from Steve Jobs, who is the founder of Apple. And he says, you have to have passion for what you do because it's so hard, any rational person would give up. I want you to understand that. You have to have passion for what you do because it's so hard, any rational person would give up. You working late night for that business and waking up early mornings, any rational person would say, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting 4 hours of sleep. You canceling trips because you need to order something for your business, a rational person would be like, no, girl, I'm going on a vacation. I'm not about to be wasted. No. Any rational person would not be able to put in the drive necessary to get the life that you want. Any rational person would not be able to do the things that you have to do. So you have to find something that you could be in a state of flow about. You have to find something that failure is not even an option for you, because regardless, you're going to do this thing. I tell you all the time, having YouTube or not having YouTube, I'm going to listen to podcasts. I'm going to read books. I love wellness. Like, I've been falling in love with wellness content lately. And just wellness, everything. Like, that's been my life. How can I improve my life? How to make myself a better Shemaya? You have to find out what's that for you. What's going to make you a better you? What is something that you're going to enjoy that's going to help you? And it doesn't necessarily have to be wellness things, but it's things that you enjoy. That whether you're making $1 million or you're making $1, you're enjoying it. We lost hobbies. We lost real interest. We're so much chasing money. And when we get burnt out, we're so confused. It's because you genuinely did not love and enjoy that thing. And finally, one of the things I want to recommend is to watch documentaries. I feel like people don't really talk about them enough, but documentaries are, in my opinion, a great thing to watch. If you enjoy reading biographies of high-performing individuals or individuals who are in places and spaces that you want to be, because it's very motivational and you really see the meaning of failure, and how our meaning of failure a lot of times is misconstrued because of social media, because we're used to seeing things so fast. And I've been talking about him a lot. I told you I just read his book, but Kevin Hart, right? I recently read his book, and how many years do y'all think he was on the road? Just answer this for yourself real quick. How many years do y'all think he was on the road doing comedy? And this is after he already came out with a sitcom show and at least 1 to 2 movies. 7. After he already had a TV show, right? He had a sitcom show. He had 2 movies that already came out. He went on the road for 7 years because he wasn't able to find a job. He wasn't able to get any more bookings. For 7 years straight, he was on the road, performing at colleges, performing at local hole-in-the-wall bars, performing places where people didn't even know him. He was giving out flyers to people walking by. Hey, come to my show. Hey, come to my show. Imagine doing that for 7 years after you already moved your family to Hollywood. He moved his pregnant wife to Hollywood. He already thought, I made it. I got a TV show. Imagine being at the top, the pinnacle top, and thinking you're about to go up, and then you do this. The issue is a lot of individuals, and I can honestly say, I don't even know if I would have been prepared for that. I think I would have probably moved back home. I think I probably would have been very much so like feeling like a failure, because he could have felt like a failure after telling his family, yeah, I'm moving here and I'm driving this car and I'm doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden the money not coming in, and all of a sudden you got to perform at random places and be on the road and all this other stuff that you feel like is beneath you. You already did that. I already did that back then, and I have to do it again. And that's definitely, this is the book that came out in 2017. I forgot the name of it, but I just say that to say things like that put it into perspective for me. And then even after being on the road for 7 years, he got lucky with getting his first real movie deal by bumping into a movie director in the airport. In the airport. It wasn't like let's meet up. He was just doing what he was supposed to do. And things aligned for him. Another great documentary I definitely recommend watching is the one about Kanye West. It's on Netflix. That is a great one. Lil Baby has one too. That's on Amazon Prime. I want to watch Michael Jordan's. I heard his was good too. But I say that to say, look into these individuals who are in places and spaces that you want to be, because I also think you're gonna look at it different from saying I'm a failure. We look at ourselves as failures because we tried something and it wasn't successful. We tried something and it didn't go our way. But I say that to say, what is the definition of failure? To not be successful at something. So if you can try again, you have the opportunity for success. Does that really make you a failure? What makes you a failure is when you stop. And I don't know, I just think all those documentaries are crazy because you just see where people come from. Like I said, you see what people were doing. Like even Lil Baby, he was a exotic pharmacist, and he was making tens of thousands of dollars a day. And he went from making tens of thousands of dollars a day from driving 5-6 hours to go to shows, making $1,000. Imagine how that feels. I'm making tens of thousands of dollars a day, and now just on a block, I just gotta walk out my house, go on the street, I can make $10,000 a day, $20,000 a day. But now I'm about to drive 5 hours to perform at a concert. Not even a concert, I'm performing at a little festival. They literally would show like 15 people in a crowd. Nobody's really there. I'm making $1,000 if I'm lucky. And I have to keep going. He could have looked at himself as a failure. And I just say that to say, I find it very imperative that we understand what it means to be a failure, and understand that you still have the opportunity to try again. You still have the ability to do it again. So why won't you? Because that's a real failure. Somebody that stops, that's a real failure. With somebody who accepts the position that they're in, accepts what life gives them, and just says, oh, I'm going to just go, well, I guess that's how my life is going to be. No, you don't have to guess. You can create. You don't have to hope. You can construct the life that you want for yourself, and stop feeling like a failure, and stop holding yourself back from your potential, because there's only going to be one you. Literally, where you grew up, the mindset that you have, the day you were born, the way the stars align, there's only one you. You can only create the life that will change this world in whatever way it's going to do it by you. But if you choose not to do that thing, you choose not to do that thing. I guess we'll never know. But I want you to understand that there's literally only going to be one you, and once you're gone, there's never going to be another one. Nobody's ever going to think the way you think, talk the way you talk, walk the way you walk. You could have a twin, and they're still not going to be necessarily you. And so I say that to say, do you want to be a failure, or do you want to get up again and try? The choice is up to you. So thank you guys again so much for watching that video. I know I kind of did go on a tangent. I kind of repeated myself a few times because I was really getting into it. But I just want to thank you guys so much for the support. And don't forget to check back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for new videos. And have a great one. Oh, and disclaimer. I know some of y'all are like, girl, you always wear the same shirt. Listen, they're getting washed. They've been getting washed. But I'm at my grandma's house, and I ain't bring that much clothes over here. I forgot I was going to be shooting. So, you know, we got to do what we got to do. But thank y'all. Have a great one.